ching, 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 dun, 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 dun. Bonzoliums, stand by. 2 seconds. My Christmas drum buying tips. This is the time of year where all over the country and probably the world, parents are, the son or the daughter, well, now especially probably the daughter, comes in and saying, I'd like a drum set for Christmas. Okay. First off, there are certain ways of looking at it. Right off the bat, first you're going to be like, oh my God, you know, I don't want to go out and go through the hassle of buying it. I've heard they're expensive and then they're loud and blah, blah, blah. Let's say you get past that. My advice is always get your kid a drum set if they want it. Now here's the deal. Preferably get used because you want to minimize your investment going into it. So if you have to sell it, you lose the least amount of money. But back in the day, believe it or not, a lot of parents used to make money on this. But now that with drum manufacturers, the quality, even on their lower price stuff, is so through the roof, and the prices have come way down. Believe it or not, no matter when you get sticker shock, you go into Guitar Center, wherever you go, you look online, people are like, oh my God, a cymbal is X amount. The quality is great these days. I wish I had. I went through a whole drum buying frenzy because I've been trying to make up for the time I got ripped off so bad back in 1982. But this is what you do. Craigslist. Look on Craigslist. Craigslist has gotten a little, it's always a good place to buy stuff, but starting now about October, November, it starts to, a lot of the stuff that's any good for a parent, like a full drum set that has cymbals or anything, starts getting snapped up, okay? The demand goes up, okay? So Craigslist is always good. Also look like on your, like sometimes on Facebook places, like whatever town you live in, sometimes there's like a for sale thing. Those will start getting snapped up too. You know, there's various online, there's also like town. I know some towns have like for sale, like it's almost like the newspaper of the village that'll come in, right, or the town you're in, that'll have a for sale section or a wanted section. You can do it online and even the hard paper that comes to you. Okay, so just scour that stuff. But odds are, in the end, you're probably going to be forced to buy new stuff. So here's the deal. What you have to do is you kind of have to gauge how interested your child is, on one hand. Not even necessarily see how much musical ability they may or may not have, because if you have a really active kid, they might, even if it's just for 6 months, play the hell out of the drums. It's good for them. It is. It's good physically. It's good mentally for them. It is. It's a good release at the very least. Okay, and especially after 6 months, come June, let's say they freak out for 6 months, selling June a drum set, you'll be better in June. In June, it'll be easier for you to get rid of because there's always a slew of drum sets on the market like March, April, May, because a lot of the drum sets, the kids, they open it and they're like, yeah, a drum set, and it sits there for 2 months. And the parents immediately maybe turn to put it on Craigslist. So look on Craigslist. And the old way of thinking, it's almost like in the old days, like any used car that runs was like always worth at least $500. You know what I mean? Well, it runs, it's $500. Well, there was sort of a thing where for a long time before really good quality drum sets came along in the last 10 or 12 years that are really, really affordable, there used to be a thing like if you could find a drum set that was complete for like up to $500, you were getting a good deal. Now, assuming the drum set wasn't a really low budget like TKO or one of these really cheesy drum sets. But if you saw even back in the day like an old, like a Tama Rockstar, some of these lower midline offerings of a lot of the companies, Ludwig and everybody, if it had cymbals, and oftentimes in those days, the cymbals were usually pretty good. It was sort of before a lot of the drum companies sort of came out with intermediate level cymbals and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So there are a few brands I always recommend going with. Well, any brand these days is good. Drums these days, even their lower line stuff. You know, you have like Tama and Mapex and Yamaha and Pearl. But of course, I always want to steer people, especially these days, to American-made stuff. Now, obviously, a lot of the components come from overseas, but nonetheless, it's an American company. You know, anything maybe we can do to sort of try and keep our manufacturing base up in this country now, is more helpful. And especially with Ludwig, even their top of the line stuff, like their classic maple, which is sort of like their Cadillac of drums. Their Peugeot of drums and stuff is what they call legacy, which are a lot more expensive. But their classic maple are pretty affordable. I mean, compared to the top of the line of a lot of the other import manufacturers, Yamaha, Pearl, and again, so what you got to remember, if you're buying a drum set for your kid, what happens is, again, back to what I said initially, gauge maybe their interest a little bit, because nowadays a lot of drum companies are getting smarter, where they offer, like Ludwig has a Questlove, they call it Questlove, because the drummer for the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon is a fella named Questlove. And there's sort of two versions of the Questlove kit. There's the like $369 or $399 version, which is sort of like a little, it's like a jazz drum kit, which is smaller sizes, but that happens to be great for little kids too, because it's all a smaller relative kit for the smaller size of a child. But they also have like a Questlove Junior. I forget exactly what they call it, but it's like $250 US dollars. Shipped to your door, because free shipping now with a lot of these companies, especially around Christmas. You get everything. You know what I mean? You get stands and stuff, and it's kind of the cymbals will be cheesy, but at this point, you know, you'll go through and you'll see how interested they are in the kit. You know what I mean? So, and I can guarantee you that come June, you'll be able to sell that drum set for at least $150. Now you might be like, a lot of people with that are like, oh my God, I paid $250. Look at it this way: you're only out $100. Okay, you're only out $150. If you go and you buy a lower midline set a la carte, what happens is you get a la carte. You got to buy like the drums, they call it a shell pack. Then you have to buy the stands, and even if they're low line, cheaper stands, even if you buy like a beginning cymbal pack, you're still going to be spending $700-800 when it's all said and done. Come June, you try to sell that kit, you get at least $350 for it. Like if you really want to get rid of it fast, you'll get $350. If you want to hang on to it for a while, you might get $550, but it might be 8 months. You know what I mean? So you have to look at your downside. It's like it's a cost benefit analysis right off the bat. Okay. So then what happens is after 6 months or a year or so, if your child is enjoying the drums, well then you can go out, you can go the route of buying the $700 or $800, $900 package, and you know they might stick with it. But again, there's different ways of looking at buying a drum set for a child. For one, I champion the fact that drums are so helpful and such a stress reducer and such a, I wouldn't say a panacea, but I would say it's good or better than getting a, whatever this workout machine is, right? A Precor or whatever. Literally, drums can be a Precor. I mean, you literally can sit and just do like exercises on the drums, which I will make another video, and I have other videos called Drumming Your Way to Health, which I think are often taken as maybe a joke, but I'm dead serious on it. Anyway, so trying in my ADD, ADHD, to keep this about purchasing a kit, that's what you want to do. Look used first. Obviously, you want to buy the cheapest you can. If you want to send emails to me, my email address is bonzolium. You'll see it here on the page, BONZOLEUM, @gmail.com. So if people are like, send me a link to the Craigslist thing. What do you think of this one? Is it worth it? I'll answer those all day long. I live for this kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I advise. Odds are, though, you'll end up going to a store. If you want, send me, what do you think of this package, or what do you think of this? Because ultimately, it is for parents on the front end, sort of a cost benefit, like how bad am I going to get burned if I look to get rid of these in a few months? Okay? So I hope that's helpful. More videos on the way for everybody else. And again, my editing capabilities are temporarily sort of, I'm not editing as much, so you're going to see me then turn the microphone off and get up and stumble my way to the camera. So for anybody watching this video who's a new person maybe to my channel, because you're looking like how to figure out how to buy a drum set, which is good. I mean, you need help with that. I mean, you do, preferably if there's a teacher in your town or somebody. So please subscribe if you haven't. Even if you just watch this and you want to, what did this, joker say about buying a drum set? Just subscribe anyway. It'll take you an extra half a second. Doesn't hurt for me to build my subscriber base up, So anyway, keep coming back. Thank you very much.